Hey guys, Scheming Off the Grid here. The Sega Genesis Mini has put Sega back on the map and has 16-bit nostalgia pumping through everybody's veins. In today's episode, we're going to let you know what we feel are the top 5 games on the Sega Genesis Mini. What are we drinking today?
Today we're drinking the Great Pumpkin by Elysian Brewing Company. It's an Imperial Pumpkin Ale.
Sounds fantastic. You know the drill. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that bell icon so you never miss an upload. And sit back, relax, pour yourself a beer if you care to, and let's talk about the top 5 games on the Sega Genesis Mini.
What's going on, guys? It is Smash JT, and you are watching one of my all-time favorite channels in all of YouTube, Gaming Off the Grid. Hey fellas, how about you say we get to smashing?
Alright, here we go. The Sega Genesis Mini is here, and something that we've enjoyed doing with the other mini consoles that have came out is ranking our top 5 favorite games from that respective console. So, it's Genesis time.
Yeah, let's freaking do it. Let's jump into our number 5 pick on the Sega Genesis Mini.
Alright, I think this one might be a little bit controversial in a sense, because there are a lot of games that most people will think are better than this game. But Comix Zone, we love this game, and you got to keep in mind, we're approaching a lot of this collection kind of newer, because we didn't grow up with the Sega. I had a friend up the street who had the Sega channel, Sega Genesis, so I got to dabble, but I never really got to dive into the console per se. And this game, every time I've ever seen it, just blows me away visually. The style, it's one of those games that I can't really pinpoint another game that I've played that's exactly like it.
It's very unique. It is a one-player game though, so that kind of sucks because we're a 2-man channel, but it's still really fun. And it's really cool because this game, Sega actually applied for a patent for the style of this game, like the comic book style video game, and it's weird that they filed for the patent, but they got it. I don't know what they did with it, but it's cool that they filed a patent for it.
Yeah, and you know, this game, it's not the perfect game, but like an A for effort. I love games that push the boundaries and try something new, and I love playing games that I can honestly say I've never seen anything like this before. And it just has that dark edge of the comic book scene that I really like. I like those darker comics, and this just feels that way to me. So Comix Zone, if you're a beat-em-up fan, a side-scrolling beat-em-up fan, or a comic book fan, I think you need to check this one out because you zig and zag on this one.
Yeah, it's really cool how the path you can take.
Comix Zone looks fantastic still to this day, and yeah, it deserves to be on this list in our opinion.
Now let's move on to number 4. Number 4 is a genre that we really love, and that is shooters. Number 4 is Thunder Force 3.
Yeah, so we had this boiled down to 2 shooters, and we had to choose Thunder Force 3. This game has a soundtrack that is just unbelievably good. I love the way this game plays. I love the sprites, and it's a game that's a little more on the more expensive side, so I don't know that we would ever be able to afford it for our collection.
It's a little pricey, but it's awesome it's on this collection because you can get the collection and have it all. The other shooter we were thinking about putting on this list was Darius, because it's only on this collection, and that makes it super cool. But as a shooter, if you boil it down, I think Thunder Force 3 is a better shooter than Darius. I mean, Darius is still freaking sweet.
Yeah.
But Thunder Force 3 is a one-player shooter. It came out in North America in 1990, so this is the oldest game of our top 5 that was released.
And there is a 4th one that is really good, and there is also a side note. There's a much cheaper version of this game. It's not a direct port, but there's a game called Thunder Spirits that we learned about from Megadan 29 that is on the Super Nintendo. Thunder Spirits is a port of the Thunder Force arcade game, which I think is Thunder Force AC, and Thunder Spirits is a direct port of that. Which Thunder Force AC is a kind of a port of Thunder Force 3. Whoa.
Yeah, a lot.
Anyways, there's a lot going on there.
It's very similar. Very similar and a lot cheaper for the Super Nintendo.
Way cheap. It's a way cheap game.
You could just get the Sega Genesis Mini, which is a badass collection. And one thing I do want to say about Thunder Force, there's a gun you can get called the back shot where you can shoot bullets out your butt while you're shooting them at the front. It's awesome.
It is a top shelf shooter for sure. Thunder Force 3 is number 4 on our countdown.
Now, number 3 is a series that we really love, and we're not as familiar with this game in the series, but this game is badass, and that is Castlevania Bloodlines. This Castlevania game is super sweet.
Yeah, it is, and that's why this whole release is awesome to us, because we have played the hell out of Castlevania and Castlevania 3 and Castlevania 4 on the Super Nintendo, but Bloodlines we've only dabbled with here over the last couple years. You know, it's been on the Castlevania collection
that Konami released, which is super badass, and that makes me think, Konami, why don't you just make a new Castlevania game?
Yeah, hey, there you go. But this game is really cool. You play as 2 different protagonists. You play as John and Eric. And it's set in a different time frame than the, some of the more traditional Castlevania games that I'm used to playing anyways. And you're going after Dracula's daughter, right?
Dracula's niece.
There you go.
This is a one-player game, but there's 2 playable characters, so that's really sweet. And what's really cool about this game is, traditional Castlevania, there's hearts that you get throughout the game. Instead of hearts in this game, there are gems. So it's like, ooh,
yeah,
spiced it up.
The sprite work is really good in this game as well. This game is just a beautiful game. There are a couple points in the game that are very, very difficult and maybe teeter on the side of being a little bit unfair, but the game is a lot of fun nonetheless, and it is up there, in that discussion always of possibly one of the best Castlevania games. I don't necessarily think that, but it is a fantastic effort nonetheless.
And this game, if you went to go out and buy the cartridge, this game is also a pricey game
Very
as well.
expensive, yep.
So that's why I love that it's on this collection, because we don't have to drop big bucks to be able to play it. I know having it on physical media is our preferred way to play
Yep.
it, but money's an issue sometimes. But Castlevania Bloodlines, you are number 3. Now let's move on to number 2 with Streets of Rage 2.
The icon.
Yeah, such an iconic game.
It's the Ayatollah of beaten ass Arola. It is such a good game. A 2-player beat 'em up that is just done right. It is the best in the series. It was very hard for us not to put this game at number 1. The one part of the game that's always rubbed me the wrong way is the friendly fire.
Yeah, that's what annoys me about Streets of Rage just in general, is friendly fire, because I get button crazy and I always end up giving you the pounding.
Yeah, but nonetheless, it is a great game, and it's the first game in the series that I ever played. I've also played 1 and 3, but something about 2 just feels so good.
I think 2 is a lot of people's favorite games. I know 4 is coming, and we are so excited for 4, so maybe that might be in discussion, but Streets of Rage 2 is such a freaking iconic game.
Every time I play this game, I remember back to when I was younger. That kid up the street from me that I used to play this with, we used to skate all the time and play Streets of Rage a lot, and we always used to say when you get the apples or the turkeys that we were putting them up our butts.
Because you squat.
You squat down, it's like bloop, it makes this sound.
Up your butt.
And be like, oh dude, come over here. You need help, man. Put this apple in your butt. And so every time I play this game, it's still funny to me. It takes me back to that time when I was like 9 years old and talking about putting turkeys up my butt with my friend up the street. So great times, and Streets of Rage 2 is number 2 on the list. You want to go over number 1 or talk about the beer first?
What do you guys want? I don't care what you want. No, I'm just kidding. I do. But let's talk about the beer. Let's leave them on the edge of their seats.
Okay. The Great Pumpkin Ale, right?
It's an Imperial Pumpkin Ale. Yes, this is by Elysian Brewing Company. What are your thoughts?
This beer's great. This is a really good beer. We've been on a little bit of a dry spell with October beers. The last episode that we did was pretty darn good. We're kind of coming out of it, I feel.
Yes.
This, I'm not going to say this is the best pumpkin beer I've ever had, but this is really damn close.
It's really close.
This is an A+ pumpkin beer. There are floaties. This beer is chewy.
Oh, dude, there's so many particles.
Is a really good beer.
So much flavor.
One of our buddies, Captain, he said in one of the comments, he's like, man, pumpkin beers always feel thin to me.
This one is not.
This one is not.
Because I usually agree. Like,
Yeah.
I must bring more pumpkin flavor. This is a perfect blend of like a pumpkin flavor with beer, and it's so good.
And those that's like cinnamon, nutmeg, spice, maybe a little bit of clove, just really lingers on the finish. This is a really good beer.
Yeah, this is so good.
Yeah, we got a sampler pack from these guys that I would find it hard to believe there's something better in there than this beer.
No,
this is really
good.
good.
This is the bee's knees.
Top shelf.
And speaking of top shelf, bee's knees, let's talk about our number 1 game. And we've already mentioned this game developer in our list already, and that is Contra Hardcore.
Oh yes, Nobuyo Nakazato has some really good chapters in his portfolio of Contra work, and Hardcore is one of those. He also did Alien Wars, Shattered Soldier, and he actually did the most recent game, Contra Rogue Corps, and we know it hasn't been received the greatest, but we're talking about Contra Hardcore today. This game is epic. So this last 2 years since we started this channel, we've really went head over heels for Contra, because Ryan, who's been on the channel, is a big Contra fan. Then some of the friends we've made in the community are huge Contra fans. We're like, no, we got to really figure this shit out and get
we've
good.
fallen head over heels. Contra is such a badass series.
Yeah, and the cool part about this Genesis Mini is, again, we both grew up with Nintendo, so the games we have are Contra and Super C and Alien Wars. We don't own this game, so we've dabbled with it in different collections and things like that.
Yeah, because it's available on the Contra collection that was just recently released by Konami, which is super cool, but now it's on this bad boy.
It's kind of that beauty of you don't know what you don't know. No one would have ever been able to tell me that there wasn't a better 16-bit Contra game than Alien Wars. And you guys can debate it out in the comment comment section below. But we were told, like, no, this game is the creme de la creme, and we played it, and holy shit, this game is good. It's really difficult, but the 4 playable characters make it very unique.
4 playable characters. They kind of switched like the story around, because you used to play as like Bill and Lance. You know, those are the main guys. This game is so freaking hard.
It is. It's really hard, but it's a beautiful game, and I think there's multiple endings, right? Like 3 or 4 different ones.
There's branching stories and different endings, so that's so cool. Not only is this game just badass, it's so cool that like the replay value is just awesome.
We're hoping to tackle this game on the channel in 2020. We're almost to the point where we feel comfortable making a video on Alien Wars and doing a playthrough. The next one in line is going to be Contra Hardcore.
So excited. It's such a sweet game.
In our opinion, Contra Hardcore is the best game on the Sega Genesis Mini. So
in the comments below, what is your favorite or top 5 games on the Sega Genesis Mini? I know there's going to be a lot of debating and a lot of controversy, but we want to know, so leave a comment below.
Yeah, and if you're wanting to know about this whole unit, we'll put a link up here in the corner. We actually did a full review, first impressions type of video. Yeah, is it worth it deal, where we go into the console a little more itself. We will also be back probably in a few weeks or a month or so talking about games that we wish were on the collection that are not. We always appreciate you tuning in and subscribing to the channel. Keep gaming, keep drinking. We'll see you next time right here on Gaming Off the Grid. The Sega Genesis Mini has put Sega back on the map, and it has got 16-bit nostalgia pumping through the veins of all the 90s kids. Yeah.